America, and hello world. Good morning, Pilipinas. Welcome to our The Teacher Voice. This is just an hour show that aims to give teachers the opportunity to talk on air about their unforgettable journey through and share their splendid wisdom to inspire and give hope to our listeners and viewers. This show airs by the Philippine Las Vegas radio station located in the heart of Las Vegas every Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And in the Philippines, it's Sunday, 10 in the morning. I am Teacher Judy, your host, and my co-host for tonight is Teacher Pasita Ross from New York City. And our dear Tita Josie Harrison from Las Vegas, we are missing you, but I know that you are...
She'll be back next time.
Correct.
Yeah.
She'll be back next time. Relax and take care of your health, Tita. So tonight we have a very special guest from Davao City. And we will be able to hear all the inspirations, the story that she is going to inspire our dear teachers and other students and listeners. So, but before we proceed sa program natin, we are going to greet our teachers back home and here and even our families. So, I will give this time to Tita Paset.
Hi. Good day sa ating mga teachers and listeners sa ating show, The Teacher Voice. I would like to wish you a belated Merry Christmas and an advanced, happy, and peaceful 2022. And teachers, thank you so much for what you're doing. And we are depending on you and the children are depending on you. So just kapit lang kayo. Okay?
Yes, mga teachers, kapit! Mga taga Negros Occidental, especially sa Sipala and Kabangkalan, Tita, that we have that storm after that, the aftermath of the storm. I see in YouTube, some of my friends, they were texting me and, showing me their condition. Hold on. We have to... cling on the promises ng Panginoon. All right? Don't be discouraged. And we still have the hope. As long na you have that faith at saka panalangin, prayers, and kapit sa mga promesa ni Lord pa rin. So mga teachers, I know some of you are very affected in there. Sa Davao ba yun? Sa Surigao or whatever part. Sa Leyte, Bohol, Tita, sa inyo din. Right? We're very sorry sa ngayon nandyan kayo sa sitwasyon na yon. Pero there is a reason for everything. And God is there still with us. Emmanuel, as what he said. Emmanuel, God is with us. So thank you very much. And Tita, it's time for us to read the bio note of our interviewee.
Yes. Okay. All right. So now, it's my privilege to introduce our guest tonight. She joined the New York City Department of Education in 2004 and is currently an algebra teacher at Susan B. Anthony Academy. She also has worked as a peer instructional coach and mentor in 2013 to 2019 and an educational specialist for New York Edge After School Program in 2007 to 2020. Oh, that was last year. She graduated with a degree of Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education, major in Mathematics from Assumption College in Davao de Oro, Philippines. She obtained a Master in Science in Special Education, Middle Childhood in 2009 and a Master of Science in Math Education in 2013. Both courses she took at Touro College in New York. In 2019, she was conferred a degree in Doctor in Education on Instructional Leadership from St. John's University.
Okay, this part which I like, Tita. She has been married to her husband, Danny, for 21 years and has two sons, a 19-year-old who is the U.S. Air Force and a 15-year-old. She loves to play chess, listen to radio commentaries, do crossword puzzles,
Like I
and
do.
have and have quiet moments. She is perpetually grateful for the sacrifices of her parents for her successful professional and personal life, and to her husband for his consistent support toward her career goals. She also feels blessed by the inspiration her children give her. More importantly, she believes that a genuine and a strong relationship makes everything truly possible. Yes, totoo.
Totoo yun.
Wow.
Yes, that's right.
I am very excited, Natita.
Yeah,
But
she's a good
anyway,
friend. Uh-huh.
oh wow. Oh yes, yes, Tita.
Yeah,
She is your good friend.
right.
Actually, she mentioned to me that mga 15 years ago daw, parang neighbors kayo.
Yeah, we were.
So, Tita, igigrill natin ito si Marie. Pero before we will do that, we will give her a moment also to greet the friends over wherever it is and the
Introduce
family.
her.
Correct.
Introduce
Marie,
her. Uh-huh.
of
Marites,
course,
sige na.
Tita. Of course. Doktor siya, di ba?
Yeah,
Dr. Marites Hondanero.
Hondanero.
Hi,
Well,
Tess.
hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Wow, this
Good
is so
evening,
cool.
Marites.
Very
I think
nice. Very
in the
nice to
end,
have a new friend here in the show na naman.
Si Tita
Thank
This is so
Judy.
cool. Right.
thank you.
Tess, sige, mag-greet ka na, Tess.
Okay.
Greet na.
So, belated Merry Christmas. Good morning, Philippines. Sa parents ko nasa Davao, tsaka mga kapatid ko. And also my aunts and sister-in-laws who are also teachers themselves. And I saw the struggle. But through it, they plowed through it. And because they believe that, the best thing they could do is to continue helping their students despite the pandemic, despite all the challenges.
You're right.
And also here, I would like to say hi to my friends and also my husband and my children and also my co-teachers. Thank you for the invite. Thank you. I am honored to be here tonight and to be part of this amazing radio program. Thank you for what you do to the teachers as well, highlighting their life stories. This is inspirational. Thank you.
Thank you for
That is
for
actually
being with
the
us.
aim.
Thank
Right.
you.
Marites, totoo. That is our aim. We will feature some of the struggles, the stories of our teachers. I know you have yours also, even
Right.
back home and here. At saka ngayon, doctor na si Marites. And then I will ask her, Tita,
Yeah.
before ka Marites, before you became a doctor, ano-ano ang mga struggles mo sa teaching profession mo in your whole history, the history of your teaching profession?
From the Philippines
Before you
to here.
become, right.
Yeah.
Even back home and
Right.
until now, before you have that degree as a doctor and you graduated here in America, in New York. So tell us about your struggles also as a teacher.
Yeah, so the first struggle I had was to accept the fact that I will become a teacher despite of dreaming of becoming a lawyer. It's a tradition.
Ma-attorney pala ito sana.
It's a culture for the Philippines for the parents to choose the career for their children.
That's true.
Yeah, I think it's because for us, for me especially, the number one consideration was economic. Because to become a lawyer, it's more expensive than to become a teacher.
Correct.
Yes, but I am thankful for that because when I started student teaching, I started to love it. I actually discovered that I like the interaction that I have with my students. Then in the struggle was, as a first-year teacher then, I didn't have what my co-teachers would have right now here in New York, where they have a mentor, somebody who guides them, somebody who would show them the way despite all the hardships. Because in the Philippines, as far as I remember it, on my first year, I was by myself. Like I have to navigate through the art of teaching daily, and also to prove to everybody that although I was very young, I was 20 years old, that I already know what I'm doing. And also to learn to be humble every day, that I could also learn from my students, that I'm not the expert from, you know, I'm not the expert in the classroom. But the biggest struggle was when I came here in the United States to be a teacher. I was 23 years old then. And the first struggle was the cultural difference. That's the biggest struggle because my students, especially in New York City, they come from a different cultural background, family background, different socioeconomic background. And yet I came from a culture where teachers are highly respected. But over in New York, when my students first met me, they wouldn't give me the respect that I was accustomed to in the Philippines, because they're used to having any adult, any authority to earn that respect. They have to see first that I'm worthy of that respect before they give it to me. And also the struggle of me as a mother. I left my son in the Philippines with my husband, so I came here on my own. Yeah, so I still remember that when I come home from school, I will always wish that I don't have paperwork to do. I don't have to plan lessons or grade papers, so I could go to bed early. And yet, when I have the opportunity to go to bed early, I couldn't sleep early because I would end up crying and missing my family.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what, Marites? I am. You said something about you did not have a mentor back home in the Philippines.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the truth. I was 20 years old when I started teaching. Tapos, yun na nga, wala talagang mentor. Bahala ka, itatapong kanila sa isang, at the
Yes.
very start, ibibigay sa iyo yung difficult class, di ba, no?
Yes.
Kaya palang, you have to swim on your own or sink. Kasi
Yes.
wala nang katulong. Unless, magtatanong ka talaga sa mga, it's good that there are good people. Tatanungin mo sila and you get them to help you. Pero yung talagang mentor na tututukan ka, there isn't any. Kaya
No.
mahirap. I think one thing that the Philippines should think about is
Yeah.
having a mentor for very new teachers.
Yes, and aside from having a mentor, I think also reflecting back on the experiences I have back home as a student teacher, as an education teacher, and then a first year teacher, was that I realized we lack the ability to manage a class. Because as I've said earlier, the respect is given automatically just because you are the teacher, you are the adult, you're the person who has the authority in the classroom. And I saw that stark difference in here because I need to have a strong classroom management skill so that I get to have my students to sit down and then listen to what I'll be sharing with them. Because back home, the moment the students will see you walking towards the classroom, they would go to their seats right away. They'll be quiet. They will wait for you.
That's right.
And here it's different. You have to have the right strategy. And those skills, they don't teach it. They don't teach that when we were back in the College of Education.
Correct.
It's more on, especially, I think it also reflects with what the administrators are doing back home when it's time for them to observe teachers and evaluate. It's more on what the teachers are doing in the classroom, what they observe you actually teaching and how well you're teaching. And it's not more on what the students are doing in the classroom as a result of how you're managing them and how you're teaching them as part of the measurement. I don't know if it has changed now because I've been out there for a long time, but back then that was my experience. And I wish they would change the college program.
Yeah,
True.
you're
That
right.
is very, very true.
Kailangan yun. That's
Yes.
true.
What you are saying, Marites, is that okay. So while you are talking about this, and Tita, I'm just listening. Do you think ikaw nga siguro sa Davao, you were assigned in that school sa city na part? I don't know.
I was actually teaching in the province, but my first 2 years of teaching, I was in the Catholic school. So I went to the Catholic school, and then after I graduated, they hired me. So I graduated in March, and then by June I started teaching because my college hired me as when the physics teacher retired. And since I was doing her loads when I was student teaching, so when she was retiring, they told me they want to hire me.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and from there for about 6 months, I volunteered at a public school in it was a far-flung village, so it was more of an annex. Through the initiative of the parents, they opened a new high school. So in one classroom, I had 75 students in an open classroom. Yes, there were no walls. There was just a roof and some old chairs and some where the parents built so that these kids can go to a school not too far from their house.
Okay. So we experienced that in the
Philippines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kung ikaw, if you will be given a chance to tell the government, right? DepEd, indeed.
DepEd.
With all the things that I heard from you, what recommendation that you can extend or you can give to Department of Ed in order that the teachers are ready, equipped to teach before they will go to the war?
So what I think is,
As a doctor now, you are a doctor. what can you recommend? I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think is lacking is for each of the students, the education students, to be also trained to be their own leaders. Because as you go into the classroom, you're actually not just a teacher, but you're also the leader. You have the students that you would lead. And I think it's just the mindset. It is more of a paradigm shift that I have to do when I come over to the United States. We are always taught to be hardworking, but I think in the aspect of leadership, we don't have that much of emphasis. And why I think that is important, because as a teacher, we need to be able to advocate for ourselves and for our students. So, for example, as we discussed earlier, the coaching and mentoring, it's very important.
Very important.
And I have never heard of any, so far right now, colleges that's offered it to any of the first year teachers or any of the schools back home, be it private or public school. And this, I think, would make a big difference in our education system.
Yeah.
Because as a first year teacher, it doesn't matter how much training you have. When it comes to content, I think we're very strong based on my training. It doesn't matter if I'm from the province, but I have very competitive content skill. The matter of the fact is I'm able to teach here in New York.
Mm-hmm.
But then being able to be guided to do the right decision, to do the right thing. And first year is survival. And it might not sound very nice, but I think it's a fact that whatever job we hold, first year will always be difficult. It's either, as Tita Pasita said, sink or swim. And I think most of us, we swim until we almost sink.
Right.
Yes, if we could just have that program. Like, for example, when I became a peer instructional coach and mentor in our school, it was actually out of the teacher incentive fund program from the U.S. Department of Education. And then New York City became a recipient, an awardee, a grantee.
Oh, okay.
And that is a human capital strategy of the U.S. Department of Education. And then it became, for New York City, it became a partnership with our teachers union. So then for us teachers, if we're willing to serve our school as teacher leaders, then we're given that opportunity to apply and go through rigorous,
Process.
procedures, a process until we get accepted and we're able to serve our school. That in particular, as I've said, is an initiative from the federal government, which I think in the Philippines can be equated into our national government if they give a budget on that, if they have that program for the entire Philippines. I think it will make a difference.
Yeah, I agree very much with you regarding leadership. Yeah, although I was in college millions of years ago, when I try to recall what I did, what I was taught, or was what I was made to learn in college, I I now remember that not many of those courses I took were really relevant to being me, becoming an excellent teacher regarding leadership. Yeah, I knew a lot of things. You're right, content skill is there, but the way we manage a class and many other things to make us, the leader, I like what you said, wasn't addressed by my college courses, I think. And this is the Philippine Normal College, which is supposedly the premier teacher college in the Philippines.
Mhm.
So I think I am just not sure now how much better the curriculum is for teachers, the teaching courses there. I am not sure now. I hope that there is some change to that one. That's right.
Okay. Yes, that's true, Tita.
Mhm.
One of the things that we have to consider is that teachers are the one molding the kids, right? The problem with the system back home is
Yeah,
that
the system.
the system talaga.
The system.
Ang system, may mga teachers, tita. May mga we have also, I would say, may mga teachers or may mga friends tayo na principals. Kayo din. Isa sa mga principals na kilala ko, struggle niya, yung teacher niya na parang siya pa yung principal eh. Wala ga turo, wala ga ganun. So kung i-report mo, kasuhanay na lang eh. Magkaso si teacher na ganito. Hindi na makakonsentrate ng mga, alam mo yun, procedures na yun. Pero, ang sabi ni Marites is, kung ito ay bibigyan ng pansin ng government natin, na i-equip talaga sila through some mentoring at coaching, it will be good. Pero ito, Tess, what you are sharing to us is the budget must comes from the national
It
level,
comes from the
right?
national
level.
government. Yeah. Mhm.
Is the coaching can be done also like in online, can be done in like this? Can we do that?
Yes.
We can share also to our fellow teachers in there.
Yes. So actually, I had the experience of doing it online during the lockdown in 2019 because I still had one or two teachers that I was mentoring then. So mentoring is actually required by New York State. So
Right.
the first year teacher will earn the teaching certificate when they apply for the permanent. No, it's not called permanent, but professional certificate. They need to have the mentoring requirement satisfied. So during the lockdown, I still had to continue mentoring two different teachers from my school. So I had to do the remaining part of it online.
Mhm.
So we do different things. So when we're physically in the school, I have to visit their classroom. And then after that, we do the post-observation discussion.
Yeah. Mhm.
But then during pandemic, I could do it online. So I still have to be part of their classroom through Zoom or Google. Aside from that, we also discuss strategies like outside of the teaching time. We also have to discuss strategies that are backed by research. What's the current trend? What's working? What's not working? And also we give the teachers time to reflect because we want teachers to be reflective of their practice
Mhm.
because out of it, they could identify, strategies probably that they want to try, and if it worked, how did it work? So things like those.
Yeah.
We could do it either in person or online.
But
All right.
Marites, mentoring, you said the budget came from the federal government, correct?
So actually mentoring, no, that was for the peer instructional coach. That
Oh, I
was an
see.
incentive
Okay.
fund because I was compensated for the
Uh-huh.
work that I did on top of what I regularly receive as a
Right.
salary. But then also my principal, he's very smart. So he piggybacked mentoring into that. Since I was already out of the classroom, I wasn't teaching. So that's why he assigned me also as mentor of first year teachers. Because when I was coaching, I wasn't only focused on the first year teachers. There were also teachers in the school that, let's say, they've been there for 20 years and they didn't have, and some of them they need to update their practice, or they need some help because especially with the onset of technology, some of these teachers, they struggle. So I have to help them with that, and also help with the math department that I was part of. So I was more of assisting also the assistant principal of the department.
So is this mentoring program still available to the teachers presently, or has it been finished? There's no budget anymore.
The coaching was already finished, but the mentoring is still available because the mentoring is part of the state requirement.
It's for everybody, all new teachers and other teachers who need it.
First year teachers, yes, because they have to have 40 hours.
The mentoring.
For the whole year.
All right. Okay, that's very good. That's very good.
Yes, wow. and also the mentor, from my experience as a mentor, why I say it's very important because I provide moral support. I'm like the cheerleader for this first year teacher. On those days that you were down, that you want to think, that you're really sure you're quitting. So I have to cheer them up. And I would always say, forget about the strategies we have discussed. We're not talking today about how you're going to manage your class. We're just talking about you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very nice.
Cool.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Pero Tess, mentoring, what is the difference of mentoring and coaching?
So yung coaching, it doesn't have, you don't have to be a first year teacher. So the coaching is yung principal, let's say he will identify, for my experience, right? He had identified several teachers that were there in the school for, let's say, 10 years. These are the experienced teachers. But for whatever reason, they're struggling.
Okay.
So what are those struggles that you identify that needs to be coached?
It ranges from actually writing a lesson plan, planning a cohesive lesson plan, a lesson, and implementing this lesson effectively in the classroom, up to managing the students. So I think you're aware that in New York City, we're being observed, evaluated by the administrators, and we could get, developing or unsatisfactory, and it puts our job in the line, right?
Right.
So if we're lucky to have administrators who are willing to provide support instead of giving us unsatisfactory mark. So then that's where my job would come in.
As a coach.
Yes, as a coach. So for instance, there's this teacher that our assistant principal would like to observe. She actually went in the classroom, observed. She was not satisfied with what she saw. So then she told me and the teacher that we sit down together, plan the lesson, give her another chance because she wasn't recording the first observation. And so I sit down with the teacher and then we wrote the lesson, we kind of rehearsed it. And then, she implemented it in the classroom. And after the observation, I would sit with the assistant principal and with that same teacher. And then with the feedback, we'll continue based on the feedback that was given. We'll continue to implement it. I'll continue to support that teacher. That's the coaching. But with the mentoring, it's exclusive for the first year teachers. Those
Only.
teachers who are still not certified to be permanent based on the state requirement.
So regardless of how many teachers you have in there, like for example, new teachers are just only two that you.
Yes.
Oh.
So when I first started as a peer instructional coach and mentor, for the coaching part, there were 27 teachers in our department. So I plan, also part of the job that I did, I plan for professional development activities because we have that every Monday. So I plan for that. And then I also implement, like, for example, I wrote the curriculum for the school for our department for 6, 7, and 8 because I saw that as a need. So I look into things where I could help my colleagues, help our students to improve our practice, our scores for the school. And there was also an initiative where I implemented, as a coach, I just don't plan and implement all the professional development activity. I tap into my colleagues as part of the resources.
Marites, could you please first clarify for our viewers what the categories of what do you call that? The observation. The ratings the teachers get from not satisfactory to based on the observation. There are 4 categories, and then the first 2, the lowest 2 are the ones that will deserve coaching.
Yes, so we actually start off with the highest, which is highly effective, and we go to effective.
That's the best teacher, highly effective, the best teacher category. Okay.
Yes.
Then effective.
So highly effective, developing, and ineffective.
Ineffective. Oh, I see.
I think it's ineffective. And so there are 2 different categories, but at the end of the year, we get an overall rating.
The rating.
So it came from the measure of teacher practice, which actually came from the observations that the administrators do. And also the other part came from the measure of students' learning.
Correct.
And that's where the student scores would come in, and they used to use the state tests. But this is before the pandemic. And then we got a reprieve when we changed from the Common Core standards to now New York, what is it called? The New York Learning Standards, the new next generation standards. So we have that. So as a coach, I have to be familiar with these things as well. I have to study because I need to be able to explain it to the teachers. True. And also they will understand. So we're actually using the Danielson framework where there are different categories. So we are observed based on our planning and preparation. So this is the actual writing of the lesson plan, how we write a coherent and a lesson that we could implement, like the SMART lesson plan. And then we get to observe our actual practice. So this is the actual observation in the classroom where we're being observed based on the content, how strong our content knowledge is, our classroom management is, how do we engage students in learning, how do we let students engage also in asking questions. So it's more how we facilitate students' learning.
So it's really the content knowledge and the pedagogical knowledge of the teachers
pedagogical skills
put together, right? Yeah. And it's very, very tough. Now
So
you see, Common Core is gone. I did not know about that. So you have the New York Learning Standards.
The next generation. They call it the next generation. We're not part of the Common.
When did you begin? When did you begin having that?
This was in 2019 or 18.
Okay, during Carranza's last few years.
Yeah, but it's the state. It's a state decision.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right.
That's awesome. So, Tess, you think, wow, I used to be a public teacher too back home. right? And the one that we are discussing, I did not experience that, and that is
Not in
correct,
not here.
right? Even you guys, how wonderful to know and to just even on the thought that we are going to have this in the Philippines. Pero paano natin ma-implement ito dahil sa dami ng mga online nila, tita. I cannot say that Philippine teachers or the DepEd doesn't have this kind of program. They might have a program like coaching and mentoring, but it is not implemented.
Implemented.
No? Baka hindi lang natin man na-implement, pero baka nandyan din, it is there also as part of their program.
Yeah, I believe you, Judy Lynn. It must be there because the people up in the in the highest level are smart people. But then I think, is it the money, the fund that's not
Baka?
there? So it's not being implemented. I believe that is the problem because education is not the highest funded
Oo.
project in the
Apa
Philippines. I think.
department. At sa
Yeah.
nasabi ni Marites kanina na yung mga coaching natin at mga mentoring, kailangan siya tao na mag-mentor
Yeah.
talaga ba?
Oo,
Ganito.
oo.
Pero may ang Pinoy, tita, ewan ko baka isa din to na, it might this one of the reasons na hindi siya ma-implement dahil ang Pinoy, nasa wala ng Pinoy nga, alam ko na to.
Some people are like that maybe, but then many more I think would really love to have a mentor or a coach, I think.
Oh.
Because when I go to the Philippines to conduct workshops and seminars, they love it. So they really need it. They're lacking in things like those professional development, opportunities. So if there are the mentors and and they're available, I'm sure these teachers will love to have them.
Oh, like Marites. We can invite Marites 1 to 2 sessions to help, like
Yeah.
this, schools, sa principals,
She could
paano
do
nila
that.
ma-implement na
Mhm.
kahit wala tayo muna, it's not with money involved right now, but we can help one another. So,
Yeah.
Marites can help in many ways. Like as what I asked you a while ago, Tess, can we do this online? Because while you are talking, I was having in my mind that ito mabuti
Pwede
to.
mag-online.
Oo, pwede natin ma-online, right? Pero,
Yeah.
alam mo, punong-puno na daw ang mga teachers din ng mga online na butang-but. You got what I mean? They are overwhelmed already, like in the
Overwhelmed na.
Philippines.
Yes, I think they're not short of trainings. Actually, they have a lot of trainings because my cousins, right? There are teachers from the Philippines as well, and I also have my sister-in-laws who are also teachers. And from what I heard from them is they have a lot of trainings to do, especially now when we have the online schools, the online
May
classes.
department ed talaga.
No po? Sorry.
Sa department ed talaga.
Yes. But I think is when we talk about coaching and mentoring, the most important thing about that is the trust between the coach, the mentor, and the mentee.
The teacher.
Yes, because from what I heard is that we actually have this probably the potential, the capacity from our teachers in the Philippines, because I heard about there is a master teacher, 3, a lead teacher, something like that, a department head. But from the stories I heard is that they would also go to the classrooms and I would give feedback to their colleagues, to their teachers, as if they're evaluating them. It has to be emphasized that coaching is non-evaluating whatever feedback
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's about helping, like you help. It's not evaluation.
Yeah, no, the only ones that should evaluate are the administrators, whoever is giving us the rating at the end of the year. But the
it has to be the principal, that's what you mean?
yeah, the principal, whoever it is, designated officially to do that.
Okay.
But the coach, it should not. It must be emphasized that the coach or the mentor is not
It's not for
evaluating.
evaluation.
Not
Huh?
an
Yeah, no, it's
evaluator.
not evaluative.
Correct. Mhm.
And I think that's one challenge first, that whoever will implement the program needs to clarify, and then trust must be built between the two colleagues working together.
Wow. Pero
Yeah.
Tess, if in case that we will invite you, if we will have this kind of program, in order for the Filipinos to be helped, are you willing to help?
Yeah, sure. If I have the time, why not? It'll be
Okay.
an honor
That's
to give
beautiful.
back. Yes.
To give back. Thank you very much.
I have a
Tita?
question. Sorry. I have a
Tita, it's your question. That would be the
Yeah.
last question.
Okay. I have a question regarding your Master in Science in Special Education.
Yes.
Okay, so far, how have you used this particular study of yours in your current positions?
Yeah,
This is
dami to positions eh.
So right now I'm back full time in the classroom.
In the classroom? Okay.
Yeah, in the classroom I'm teaching. And to be honest, the reason why I chose to do a master's in special education was when I was fresh in the Philippines and they evaluated my credentials. They found out that I was lacking the units for special education. I
That's
think there was
true.
9 units. Yes.
Yeah.
So I
They
had
did
to
that,
go
yeah.
to school, and then I found out, actually appreciated the strategies that I learned, because although I'm not a special education teacher, but in here in New York City, the special education department is very broad. It is a spectrum.
Right. Mhm.
So we range from those who have Down syndrome up to those who are savant, who are highly intelligent students, and I don't have the skill. So when I did my special education units, I found out, oh, this is really nice, because I go back to my class and then I implement what I learned.
Right.
And then for now, I always use it in my classroom, because although I'm a general education teacher,
Yeah.
I also have students who has the individualized education plan. I mean, they're in
Correct.
special education, but they're mainstream into my gen ed classroom.
That's true.
And I have to be able to recognize their needs and what strategies I could implement to address the special need that they have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Very good.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow,
Each
I'm
class
so
has a
impressed.
special
I'm
need.
so impressed. And I'm very happy, Tita, na we interview this awesome,
got this
awesome
woman.
administrator. Actually, nag-administer naman siya ng mga tao eh. And
Yeah.
I'm very happy, Marites, that you pinaunlakan mo ang aming program. And before we leave, we are going to share also our quotes to the students or
To the
to our
teachers.
listeners, teachers,
Uh-huh.
to inspire them. And if you can explain a little bit, because we still have at least 5 minutes, even just a little notes for that.
Mhm.
Tita, okay, Marites, and then Tita, and then mine.
Okay.
So this is what I strive for every morning before I go to work. I try to apply this principle not only in my professional but also in my personal life. So I believe that self-control is strength, calmness is mastery.
Wow.
You have to get to a point where your mood doesn't shift based on the insignificant actions of someone else. Don't allow others to control the direction of your life. Don't allow your emotions to overpower your intelligence.
I love that. Oh, thank you, Tess. Wow, awesome. Tita?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. First of all, I would like to thank Marites for saying yes when I invited her to be part of our program.
Oh my gosh,
And
I love this.
Certainly, yeah, we got so much from her insights about the work that she's doing and how things should be done. Thank you very much, Marites.
And this Tita, this inspires also to the teachers.
Of course, yeah.
Ngayon, right.
They must have heard a lot
At mga
That's
administrators din.
Yeah.
At saka ang Department of Ed ng Philippines.
Okay, anyway, I am going to read to you a quote by Buddha, our great Buddha. Yeah. It says, what you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. Now, I just would like to focus on what you feel, you attract. I notice that when I go to the groceries, small stores, or restaurants, and they greet you not so nicely or just, flat. And I reply back with a smile and with, oh, I like your hair, or like, it makes them feel good. And so what I get back is a smile from them as well. And, the goodness and the kindness that they have in them. So Buddha is very right. What you feel,
True.
you attract.
Mm-mm. It radiates, tita eh.
Right.
No, nagre-radiate siya. Okay, here. I wasn't born to just teach. I was born to inspire others, to change people, and to never give up, even when faced with challenges that seem impossible. So teachers, if you are not just to teach, you need to inspire your co-teachers, your students, parents, and
The community.
in general.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
teachers, if you are not doing right, that you are not inspiring,
Inspiring.
you are not in this career. You are not in this career. You
shouldn't
have
be.
to remember that.
Uh-huh.
You must find another career that you can inspire others. But if you are just making troubles, you have to remember that you are not just to teach, but to inspire people. Marites, thank you very much for your awesome testimonies and inspirational messages, your stories.
Your
Tita?
thoughts and all that.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, tita, hindi pa ko gusto na I don't
Matapos.
want this to end, but because of time. But Marites, we will talk more because I know that you will be one of the instruments also to help people there. I mean, teachers there in the Philippines. Thank you very much, Tess. And Tita, thank you so much.
Okay, give my regards to Danny and the two kids.
I
Okay.
will.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you for
yes,
giving me
yes.
the chance.
Oh, yes. And also, Tita Josie.
Yes.
Right. Please
well.
Be well. All
Be
right.
well.
We are here praying for you. Be well, Tita.
Yeah.
Thank
I will
you
see
so
you
much.
next.
Get
Okay.
well soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Good. Very good.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New
Bye-bye.
Year. Thank
Bye.
you.